lesson on two-step equations with rational numbers. We're reviewing integer operations. So we'll just go through that. When we add two values that have the same sign, we just add and we keep the same sign. Remember that? So we know a positive plus a positive is positive, a negative plus a negative is negative. So 6 plus 5 is 11, negative 6 plus negative 5 is what? Negative 11.
And what happens if there's a negative plus a positive? It's negative, right?
Then we subtract and we take the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. So it's not necessarily negative, it could be positive too. So if the signs are different, then subtract and take the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. So 6 plus negative 5, what do you guys think the answer to that will be? 1, yeah, because 6 minus 5 is 1. 6, positive 6 has a greater absolute value than negative 5. Yep, so what's negative 6 plus 5, TJ?
Negative 1.
Negative 1, yeah. Guys, we just started, we're reviewing integer operations here. So now subtracting, when we subtract, we rewrite the problem to add the opposite. Subtracting was always the trickiest, it seems. And then you follow the rules for adding. So 6 minus 7, negative 1. If we added the opposite, we would say 6 plus negative 7.
Well, how's it negative 1?
Well, if you're up here at 6 and you add negative 5,
Negative 5.
6 minus 5, negative 5 is the same as 6 plus negative 5. So a negative 5 means we're going down the number line, and we would stop right here at 1. So negative 9 minus 11, to add the rewrite it to add the opposite, plus negative 11. What's negative 9 plus negative 11? Negative 20, good Mason. And then negative 3 minus negative 8, Grayson. 5, yeah. Negative 3 plus a positive 8, and then we use our addition rule, so 8 minus 3 is 5. Multiplying and dividing. Who remembers if we multiply the same signs, is our answer going to be positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. If we multiply different signs,
Negative.
yes, our answer will be negative. Good. So we're going to write that in here. If the signs are the same, then the answer is positive. If the signs are different, then the answer is negative. So positive 6 times positive 5 is 30. Negative 6 times
30.
negative 5 is 30. And 6 times negative 5 is
Negative 30.
negative 30. Good job. So I'm going to have you guys, we have some problems at the bottom. I'm going to have you guys work in your table groups. If you're alone, you can join people, or you can do it on your own.
I'm alone.
And solve these, and when you're done, just put your hand up so I know you're done. And remember, these are division right here. That's not a fraction, it's just a division. I see one hand. Are you cold, Warren?
It's not
If you get cold with your sweatshirt on, let me know. I'll shut that off. You guys can discuss with each other what you're doing if you want to. You don't have to be completely quiet. first one, Jada?
Negative 25.
Negative 25. And the one underneath that, who wants to answer the one underneath it? Glenn?
72.
72. Positive 72. Negative 5 minus 32. Farah? Negative 37. Negative 14 times 3. Dawson?
42. Negative 42.
Good. Negative 42. 14 plus negative 27, DJ.
Negative 13.
Yep. Negative 24 divided by 4, Farah.
Negative 6.
Negative 6. Negative 11 minus 8. Jada.
Negative 19.
Negative 19. And negative 35 minus 7. Farah. 5. Any questions on any of those, you guys? On why they are the way they are? Okay, good job. So now we'll get into the solving equation. So remember we learned these before. Use the first step is to use inverse operations to undo addition or subtraction. The second step is to use the inverse operations to undo multiplication or division. And then the third step, we solve it by keeping the equation balanced, and then we check our solution. So number 1, my first step would be to subtract 9 from both sides, and I end up with negative 4k equals 32 minus 9 is 23. What's my second step? Who can tell me?
4 by 8.
Yeah, we divide each side by a negative 4. And so that leaves k alone. So k equals 23 divided by negative 4 is a decimal. It's going to be negative 5.
I guess negative 5.75.
You guessed the right answer. On the decimal ones on your homework, you can use your calculator if you want. So negative 5.75, we graph it by just putting a dot there, negative 5.75. Who remembers how to check it?
No.
What do I do with my answer? Do I plug it back in for k?
Yeah.
So negative 4 times negative 5.75 equal plus 9 equals 32. And then we just solve it. So this would be 23 plus 9 equals 32. Does 23 plus 9 equal 32? It does. 32 equals 32. So we know that we did it correctly. Let's have you guys try number 2 at your tables. Jada? You have it? Okay.
I don't know.
You guys can do number 2 together, and then when you get it, just put your hand up so I know. DJ, do you have a, can you take your AirPod out, please? Nobody else has AirPods in, right? Is anyone still working on number 2? Who wants to tell us the answer?
Me.
Grayson, your hand came up first, so
=68.
x equals 68. Good job. So, did everybody get that for answer? No? So what we do is, the first thing we're gonna do is add 14, cause this minus 14, so we have to do the inverse of subtract, and we add 14 to both sides of the equal sign. Bring down x divided by 2, bring down equals 20 plus 14 is 34. And then the inverse of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. So we multiply each side by 2.
Are you kidding me right now?
No. 34 times 2 is 68.
I've literally got everything right except for the answer.
Kidding me.
Well, that's why we show our work, because then we can see like what we did right, and then if you have to go back and change things, you don't have to redo the whole thing. So to check it, you would plug 68 in for x. 68 divided by 2 minus 14 equals 20. And 68 divided by 2 is 34 minus 14 equals 20. 34 minus 14 does equal 20, so we know that is correct.
We should do all of them.
On the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna flip over to the back. Are you guys ready for me to move the screen here?
Sure.
Okay. So we have more practice on the back. Let's have you guys try number 3 at your table.
The answer.
This one has whole numbers. It should be, just remember your answer there, it equals a negative 10. When you finish, just put your hand up for a sec so I know.
My hand's up.
Some of you guys are moving on. Is anyone still working on number 3? Okay, who wants to answer number 3? Okay, Gwen, what did you get?
X equals negative 6.
Yep, good job.
I got it.
Good. So this one we have add 8, so we're gonna do the inverse and take away 8 from both sides. So we have 3x, bring down equals, and this is where it might get tricky, negative 10 minus 8. So just remember, it gets more negative, so it's gonna be negative 18. And then we undo the multiplication by dividing each side by 3. Negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. Let's try number 5, or let's try number 6. That one has a fraction.
I did number 6.
No crap.
So let's do number 6, and then we will go over that one, because we did do some fractions yesterday. This is a negative 2/3. There's a little space in there, if you can see that. This is negative 2/3.
That's a small step.
Remember what happens when we divide fractions, what we do to that. Remember?
Yeah, I do. We multiply.
No.
So divide it.
Don't copy. I want you to try it yourself.
I did. I got it wrong. Break it.
If you get stuck, that's okay, because we're gonna go through it so you can see it. I just want you to try.
6 point.
You can always erase it if it's not right.
I know it's right now.
We should do 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
We can.
No, I don't think we should.
Grayson has such a good attitude
I
today.
have all day.
I don't like his good attitudes. I like his
I do.
bad attitudes.
Does anybody want to tell us what they got for number 6? DJ?
-6 2/3.
Not quite. It's gonna be a negative number, but it's a negative whole number. Which one?
Wait, it's a negative whole number?
Yeah.
Oh, really? It's not a fraction.
No, it's not a fraction.
How is it
I
a
forgot
whole
to do
number?
fractions, by the way.
Did anybody get negative 15?
I got negative 115.
I got -15.
Okay, so let's do this together. So look up here. So the first step, what's the first step? Who can tell me? What should I do first? Dawson.
Yeah, what is it called? Negative 20 by 30, I guess. I don't know what it's called.
We have plus
Minus.
20, so we're gonna subtract 20 from both sides, right?
Yep.
And so I'm gonna bring down 2/3 x. Bring down equals 30 minus 20 is 10. So now when we multiply by a fraction, we have to do the inverse of multiply, which is divide by that fraction. When we divide by a fraction, we flip it. Do you got, who remembers
Keep
the
change
word
flip.
for flipping a fraction? Yeah. Begins with an R. Who remembers that word?
Gratification.
Not reverse, no.
Retract?
Reciprocation.
Reciprocation.
Reciprocal.
Oh.
Reciprocal. You guys were close.
I said
So I'm gonna rewrite this fraction as it's reciprocal to multiply, and those will cancel out. Bring down your x. We're going to do the same thing for this one. We can put 10 over 1 to make it a fraction. When we multiply fractions, we go right straight across the top, right straight across the bottom.
You can cross
Or you can, yeah, you can cross simplify. This would be 5, this would be 1. So we have 15 over 1. Yeah, x equals 15.
15. I got it right.
What's 2/3 as a decimal? Does anyone know? What's 2/3 as a decimal? AB?
66.6, but I don't know.
Jada?
It's a blowout.
0.6 repeating? Yeah, something like that.
I got that white man.
Okay, let's look down at number 9.
Do we have homework?
What do you think?
Well, yeah. Number 9, I want you guys to listen, okay? Margot solves several equations and then states that all of them have the solution x equals -7. However, Kenneth disagrees. Determine who is correct and justify your answer. How would we figure out if it was correct or not?
Being smart.
By doing all of them and seeing which one's correct.
So what would you do with x equals -7?
That's our answer.
Yeah, so how would you figure out if it was the right answer for this?
I don't know.
You times the 2
What?
times -7 and 6.
Yeah, you would plug -7 in for x on all of these equations and see if it is correct.
Number C is correct.
So C is the correct one. But if we, let's just try A. If we do that, 6 times -7 plus 13 equals 55. So I'm gonna subtract 13
It doesn't work.
and we get
26.
48. 6 times -7 is -42 plus 13. What's -42 plus 13?
29.
-29. So -29 does not equal 48. So we know A is not 1. So that's what you would do. You would plug that in for each of those. We're not gonna do them all, but that's how you would solve that.
It's deep.
Let's look at 10. David's phone bill each month is $30. He also is charged 10 cents per gigabyte of data he uses. If his phone bill in July was $42, how many gigabytes of data did he use in July? So our variable represents, we're gonna use X for our variable. So the variable represents what you're trying to find out. So what are we trying to find out?
The answer.
The answer. What are they asking us to find out?
How many gigabytes of data did he use in July?
Yeah, so X equals number of gigabytes in July. So let's write an equation for this now. The phone bill each month is $30. He is charged 10 cents. So I'm gonna write, how would I write 10 cents as a number? 0.10, good. So 0.10 per gigabyte. So where X represents our gigabyte, we're gonna put X, we're gonna multiply 0.10 by X.
This is like freaking coding.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like,
And the
not.
phone bill equals how much?
You use block code. This is like Java code.
I know.
42, so it's gotta equal 42.
You use variables.
So now we can solve that and find out how much data he used in July, how many gigabytes of data.
No.
Because it's kind of like that because like you have a thing that you're trying to figure out, so you make a code for it and see if it works.
Cool, that's neat.
I need 12
So we're gonna solve this together. We're gonna take away 30, because it's a positive 30. And we have, we're gonna bring down our 0.10 times X. 42 minus 30 is 12. So what's the second step, the last step?
The answer.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Go really quick.
No, can you?
This is multiply, so what do I do? Divide. We're gonna divide each side by 0.10. So 12 divided by 0.10 is 120 gigabytes. So that's kind of what? I want you guys to write the equation for this, for the algebra tiles. So we're gonna put equals in between our two sides of the scale. You guys can talk to each other as you do it, okay?
No. Okay. Thank you.
How'd you do it, guys?
Yeah.
Good answer, guys.
Remember just to count
I don't understand algebra tiles.
how many X's do we have?
2.
Oh.
And
So
then
it's
how
2
many
3.
numbers, how many 1 cubes do we have? Just imagine there being a plus sign right here. While you're writing,
Should have been some
2x
guys,
4 1 equals 2.
so 2x plus 4 equals,
I did it.
what'd you get for your equation, Grayson?
The equation?
Yep.
2x plus 4 equals 10.
Good.
Can I say the answer?
Yeah, what's the answer?
X equals 3.
X equals 3, good job. Okay, we're gonna do one more together and then I'm gonna give you your assignment, okay?
I saved a
I wanna do this one because it involves geometry and I think it's a really good problem. So it says the sum of the measures of angle Y and angle Z is 180 degrees. Do you guys remember, is 180 degrees, what would that angle look like?
Like this.
Yes, it's no, Mason's right, it's a
Like the
straight line.
horizon.
Yeah, it's a straight line. So angle Y measures 3x plus 20 degrees, and angle Z, we don't know, so it's x degrees. So we're gonna write an equation and solve for the value. So what does sum mean we're doing? Adding, we're adding those two. So we have, 3x plus 20 plus x. So I can just say 4x, because we know 3x plus 1x, if we combine like terms, is 4x, right?
Yeah.
So 4x plus 20 equals 180. And then we can just solve that, and if we take away 20, we get 4x equals 160, and then divide by 4, and x equals 40. So how would we find the measure of each angle if we know x equals 40?
I don't know.
What would angle Z measure? It says angle Z measures x, so what would angle Z measure? 40. Z equals 40 degrees. Angle Y is 3x plus 20. So for that, we would just plug in 40 for that x right there. 3 times 40 plus 20. And so 3 times 40 is 120. 120 plus 20 is 140. Wasn't that a good problem, you guys?
It's so hard, bro.
Chef
Okay,
Boyardee.
so I'm gonna pass out your
Easy.
assignment.